Hey, everybody. Happy Thursday, March 17th. Happy St. Patty's Day. I forgot my green and I'm excited. It's another WEN-Talk event. I am excited to bring you an amazing star-studded cast of speakers this week, this month. And I am excited to kick off our first talk with the amazing, the incomparable Kim Allen with an amazing topic. So welcome, Kim. Thank you for being here.
Oh my goodness, Haley, that was so awesome. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me. Yeah, this is such an amazing platform. And so I'm excited to share today.
I'm excited to be here. So with that, I'm going to give you the stage.
All righty, cool. All right. Welcome, everyone. I am Kim Allen, and I am a life transformation coach for women. And what I do is I help women get out of the backseat of their life. And so I am so excited to talk about self-love today. But before we do that, if you're on here live, grant StreamYard permission so that if you make some comments, I can see who you are. Otherwise, it just says Facebook user. So let's talk about self-love. And why did I choose that today? Well, we're in the middle of, the first quarter is almost over. Spring officially starts this Sunday. So spring 2022 is this Sunday. And I thought, what better time is there when we're doing spring cleaning on our homes to do spring cleaning on our mindset and on our how we see ourselves. And the reality is that we've come off of a really hard season. A lot of us, there was so much change going on in our lives with the last 2 years. There's still a lot of uncertainty in our lives. And a lot of times what happens is we start to put ourselves last. We start to become hypersensitive to everything that's going on in the world. And then we want to be there for our family and friends. And so we start to stretch ourselves to a place where we forget who we are. And a lot of times what happens when we do that is we start to have some negative talk about ourselves. We start to see other people, other women really thriving in life. And we start to ask ourselves, why? Why can't I do that? And we start to ask the question, is my life meaningful? What have I been doing with my life? And I know for women, I've been having this conversation with a lot of women who are like in their 40s and 50s. We get to this place in our life where it's the kids are growing up. And what's next in my life? And we ask that question, what's my purpose? Well, I want to invite you today to look at that question, what's my purpose, differently. What do I mean by that? Well, if we're asking what our purpose is, then are we really telling ourselves that my purpose up to this point wasn't valid or that it wasn't meaningful? So I would encourage you, when you start to think that, what's my purpose? You start to see the value in everything that you've created to this point. You've raised children, you've had careers, you've had dreams, right? Your purpose was exactly what you were living. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't want more for your life or you don't want to create something new in this next season of your life. But it does mean, I've done some amazing things. And when you sit down and really reflect on that and congratulate yourself, like really, really see the value in yourself. So let's talk about the self-love and where that comes in. So this last couple of years has been difficult. It's been difficult for most of us. And we may have come to this place, and I'm going to use weight as an example, just because it's been a common statement that's made. I've gained weight during these 2 years. Either you know someone that has struggled with it or you yourself have. And for myself, I know I've struggled with it my whole life. And I'm using weight just as a baseline, okay? This has nothing to do with the talk other than we are conditional with ourselves. And what does that mean? Well, I put on some weight last year and I started to look at myself as conditional again. And I know what I need to do to keep myself healthy. But I started with this dialogue of, what are you doing, Kim? Why are you not doing the things that you're doing, that you need to be doing? And what it came down to is I was so busy worried about what was happening around me. I was concerned with what's happening with my family, building my business, that I stopped putting me first. And then that negative dialogue started to happen. What's wrong with you? Why aren't you taking care of yourself? Does that resonate with any of you? So for me, that's been a roller coaster ride. And so I decided, you know what? I'm going to do something about that. And I'm going to put myself first. So I'm going to give you 4 tips today with how you can start to create that self-love in your life, because self-love is like this huge umbrella, and it doesn't just mean going and having your nails done and spending a day at the spa. That is an element of self-love. But truly loving yourself is loving every aspect of you and your life experiences. So, what do I mean by loving all of yourself and life experiences? Well, when we're in this negative self-talk chatter, or we are saying things like, well, if I didn't have, that bad experience in my first marriage, I would be able to trust. I can't trust because of that. So I wish that didn't happen. Wishing away the past, which you cannot do. It happened. So we come to this place in our lives where accepting where we are. So that's the first step. Accepting everything about your life and giving yourself that time to do an honest review. Where are you at spiritually in your life? Where are you in your physical life? Where are you financially? And where are you in your relationships? And our relationships, after these last couple of years, some of us, they've been really strained. Some of us have created stronger bonds with people. But until we look at where we are right now and we stop wishing away the past and we accept our wins, our losses, our pains, what our successes are, until we do an honest inventory and say, here is where I am today. This is where I start. And this is what I call a baseline. So the baseline of where you are right now, learning to accept all of those things that brought you here, allows you to now create a plan and action for the things that you want to create moving forward. Okay? Because until you are here in the present time, you can't create what's moving forward. The past is not where you start. You work through the past, you accept those things that happened in your past, and you bring yourself right here. Okay, number 2. Choose you every single time. What does that mean? Your baseline will most likely have things in it that hurt. You may have some experiences in there you're not proud of. You may have some really amazing things that you had happen in your life. But they all are you. And none of those things define you. They are not who you are. They are experiences in your life. So, living your life loud and proud and choosing you every single time. So where do you want to go from here? Okay, we've worked through this process of acceptance. And let me just make a note right here at this point. This doesn't happen overnight, okay? this is a process that you go through, and giving yourself grace, because it's not going to be a perfect ride. It's not going to be without bumps, but that even in the hard times, you choose you. Okay. You don't put yourself on the back burner. When you start to feel depleted, you cannot give in the way that you want to, right? A lot of times we have this dialogue that I want to do for everyone else. I got to take care of the kids. I got to take care of the husband. I got to do the laundry. I need to do the work. And then we put ourselves last and we stop choosing ourselves. And then that's when that negative dialogue comes back up and we start negatively talking about ourselves. Choosing yourself means to stop comparing yourself to other people. I had someone tell me yesterday, we were talking about some things, and it's like some past relationships that she had been keeping an eye on in Facebook. And she asked the question, like, I know what their lives are like. Why do they have someone and I don't? Well, guess what? You don't know what their relationships are. You don't know the struggles that they're going through. Social media shows things as being so great all the time. You don't know what's going on underneath that. Stay focused on yourself and your journey. Stay focused on healing those hurts and loving yourself for who you are right now, warts and all. And when that special someone is meant to come into your life, because you are now, number one, you're ready. Number two, you know who you are. You know what it means to be respected, right? So then that right person will come into your life. And so that's what we talked about. So that comparison trap, that's like a gut punch. And you don't know what they're going on in their life. So when you get into that place of comparison, become aware, check back in with yourself, and remind yourself how amazing you are. Because right now, you are infinitely valuable. There is no limit to who you are, what you can become, what you can do in life. The only limitation is you. So when you put yourself first and you choose you every time, you are creating that place where you can catapult and go after what you want in your life. You are not taking the back seat in your life. All right. So the third step, do your best. Do your best every day. And what does that look like? I can tell you on Tuesday, I woke up, I don't know what it is about getting into your 50s, but I feel like this time change, this spring one, although I love the longer days, is really hard on my body. And Tuesday, I was in a Zoom meeting with a bunch of people, and someone called me after and said, I was really hoping you would speak up and share the stuff that you've been doing. And my comment was, I'm not feeling my best today, right? But I didn't mean it in a sense of less than. I knew that I was showing up the best way that I could. And it didn't mean that the rest of my day wasn't productive, because it was. But I know myself, and this was my best. But you know what? My best yesterday, I put in a really long day. I worked 12 hours yesterday. But I got to the end of the day and I was so excited because it was 12 hours of pure bliss. I was in it. I was loving it. I didn't feel tired. It wasn't something I had to do. It was something that I was choosing, and that was my best for yesterday. So always doing your best, but giving yourself grace. Don't get to the end of the day where you're like, I wish I would have done this differently. Give yourself grace. If you didn't do what you said what you were going to do, then ask yourself why. You know what? Was I afraid of something? Was I procrastinating something? And if you were, then go and do better the next day, right? Don't carry one day into the next. But when you start to show up for yourself consistently and you start to do your best, make a plan, create action steps. Take action on those steps. Because when you start to do that and you start to recognize that you're choosing you and you're doing your best, the momentum that you gain from that is so incredible as you build on it. But remember, you're going to have the times where you have the little pitfall and things don't go right and you start to question yourself. And when you start to question yourself, use that time to be aware and ask yourself why. And remind yourself that you are amazing right now. Even if you don't do another thing, you are amazing and you are worthy. That is loving yourself. Again, accepting yourself where you are every single day in your journey. So, and when you consistently show up for yourself, then you have abundance. Abundance is created because that momentum just starts to flow. And just so you know, abundance doesn't just mean wealth. There's abundance in joy and happiness and relationships. There's so much in abundance that you can be blessed with when you keep putting yourself first. All right. All right. And the fourth step is, now that you've gone through this process, which remember, takes time, takes support a lot of times. When you go through this process, you're not afraid to show all of those bumps and bruises. You're not afraid to show those warts that you were afraid of everyone else seeing. Let me just put a little more makeup on so nobody sees the real me, right? Those walls that you built to keep people out, to keep yourself safe, you've brought those things down because you've gone through this process of loving yourself for all that you are, accepting yourself. So now you can show people the real you. How amazing would that feel to walk out into the world knowing that this is me? I'm not hiding anything. I don't have any secrets. And you know what the great thing about that is? When you allow someone to see you, you allow someone to see your vulnerability, is that you might be giving that other person some hope, because you never know who is struggling with what, who is experiencing a challenge. Even those people that you look at and you've compared yourself to and you've asked yourself, why can't I have that? Why can't I be like that? They might be in their own internal struggle. And when you show up as your true, authentic self and show other people, I get you. I get you. I understand that pain. I didn't go through your experience. I had my own, but I get you. And there's hope to create a better life. There's hope to create the future that you want. And look at me. I love myself. And I can tell you my own journey. I remember the time when I didn't love myself. And I know what the difference is now. And it's accepting all of those things. And when you learn to accept all those things and you learn to love yourself, not only are you loving you, but you are fully loving others at a whole nother level. So I hope that you go out today and you love yourself in some way. And if you want to talk about this, you can reach me at my website, Power to Heal, just power, the number 2, heal, or you can email me, Kim@Power2Heal. And of course, I'm on here on Facebook. So I wish you all an amazing St. Patty's Day, and go out and love yourself. Do that spring cleaning on your mindset. This has been super fun to be here, and thank you for listening.
Thank you for speaking. That was such a powerful topic. And I've seen all kinds of messages popping up on Facebook. Go, Kim, go. So thank you for sharing. I think that's such a valuable message right now at a time when so many people I know are really struggling. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. You have an amazing day, Haley.
Thank you. You too. Take care, Kim.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And with that, we are going to bring on our next speaker, Andrew. Hello, hello, hello. How are you?
Hello, how are you?
Welcome.
Well, I'm so honored to be here. Thank you so much.
I am delighted to have you too. I want to welcome you to our stage for this month's WEN-Talk. And welcome, Andrew. And I am going to give you the stage here, and I'm going to minimize myself, and I will be here the whole time. I cannot wait to hear what you are going to present.
Okay, awesome. Super. Thank you. So welcome, everyone. Good afternoon. I hope everybody can hear me. I will turn on the comments here just in case you have questions, put them in, and I will see what I can do to answer them today. So the first thing you notice about me, I have an Irish last name, German accent. I was born and raised in Germany, moved to the US, have been in the US for over 25 years, have not been able to diminish my accent. And my last name is because I took my wife's last name when we got married. So, hence the confusion, but you hopefully get used to the accent. And in preparation of this speech today, I was wondering, it's like, how can I set the context and so on? And my class is a little bit, how can I set the context? And doesn't matter. And so about exactly 3 years ago, we remember that we went into lockdown. I was sitting in my office in Galway, Ireland. It's where my wife is from. I'm now in Austin, Texas, but that was Galway, Ireland. And so we had the news about lockdowns, right? And at first they said we're going to just close the schools for the next 2 weeks. And of course, I knew that's not going to be 2 weeks, right? Because I know a little bit about public manipulation. For those who don't know me, at one point in my career, I was a consultant to the FBI's behavioral science unit. So I know how those things work, right? So at that point, I said to myself, I need to get to my clients. And I went into Papa Bear mode, right? And said, look, guys, whatever I taught you, whatever I coached you on last month or last week is no longer valuable because we are in a new reality, and I need to give you new tools, new strategies, and new ways of coping with that. And I gave them, I opened my entire vault of content that I had to help them with wherever they were, but at no additional rate. I even went back to the clients who did not, who didn't continue for whatever reason, and help them out because I felt that was my responsibility. And of course, sure enough, now we know that the lockdown and the lockdown openings that lasted for a while, and we're still going back and forth depending on where we are in the world. And the reality is that is not going to change. Right now, we're talking about inflation in the US at an all-time high. Talks about recession, the central banks increasing their rates. That may have an impact on our businesses, our clients' hunger to invest more into our services, and so on. So, and then we have generated like trillions of debts that somehow we need to pay back at one point, right? We have the conflict in Ukraine. So we live in a time right now, and we need to be prepared for the next few years, that times that are volatile, and that we need to respond to it. So of all the clients that I put together, some didn't make it. They're just totally honest here. Some went out of business. I had one client who was an interpretation, for example, and because one-on-one meetings weren't happening anymore, and her business lost 90% of revenue overnight. We got her back up to 90% of revenue, but she always didn't make it. Some people didn't make it. But one client, Shelley, who I want to talk about today, she had the amazing story. So after I gathered everybody around, she called me and said, Andrew, I listened to your speech. I'm in trouble. Most of my clients have either significantly reduced, or canceled their services. And my projected revenue for this year is less than half of what I did last year. And said, oh, great, that needs I thought in my head, it was already, hey, let's see what's coming next. Yes. And I was expecting that she said, Andrew, I cannot afford you anymore. I need to cut that cost as well. But she had a different approach. And she said, Andrew, I need to get that revenue back up, and I need more of your time and more of your help. I'm like, great, here's really somebody who knows to ask for help early, because we all need help sometimes, and none of us ask early enough, right? We tend to ask too late or not at all. And so some of the things I coach my clients on is to ask early and often. And if I could do it again in my life, I would do the same. I just learned that too late. That's why I'm still working hard. Okay. So Shelley was in a situation where she was also living in a camper trailer. For like, she wanted to stay there for a week until her house got finished, so she could move in the house that she was building. And so she was on a mobile internet connection in a little camper trailer. And of course, like overnight construction stopped. And little did she know, she would be spending the next 18 months in that camper trailer before the house got ready. And the business collapsed. She didn't know what to do. And, it's like there's like the worst of circumstances, a few other things that happened in her life. And I was thinking to myself, okay, I need to give that woman more help. And I will tell you later on what happened to her. It's a good story. But what I've learned from this experience is that what separates the people that made it through the hard times and those that suffered, there's one mechanism, one lever that the successful people pulled that made all the difference. That's habits. That's it. Habits. They had success habits that helped them get through these times. So what I want to share with you today is some of these habits, so that wherever you are right now, you can take advantage of that, implement it, and then at the end of the session, hopefully you have some new tools or strategies that you can implement right away to deal with your situations and what's coming up. Because again, we live in volatile times, and who knows what's going to happen in the next weeks, months, or years. And with the conflict in the Ukraine, it can be a matter of days that can change dramatically what happens in the world. All right. So as business owners, the first reality that we need to that we need to be aware of is that we do live a different reality than people that are employed. And that was the first conversation I had with Shelley, because she bought that company from her boss and then wanted to build it up. And then, of course, it went downhill because of the pandemic. And so the first thing I said, Shelley, you live in a different reality than you did when you were an employee. And for those of you who have a business, who were employed, or just started a business, or thinking about moving, this is going to be very important, because if you are employed, let's phrase it differently. If you are, if you decide to start a business, you're the crazy one, right? So, because we know that a third of businesses go out of business within the first year, and after 5 years, only like 1/3 of businesses are still there, right? So starting a business is crazy. The probability of you failing is bigger than your chances of success. But we do this because we take a high risk in reward for higher rewards. Yes. Whereas when we are employed, we prioritize risk. No, sorry, we prioritize safety over risk. So we want a little bit more safety in return for a smaller income. Okay. So as business owners, we are in a total different reality, and what drives us are three things, right? We need more income, we need more clients, and we need to make sure that we stay sane, right? How many people are very successful in their business, but it comes at a cost, either health, their relationships, their spirituality, right? The meaning in life that they feel. And so we can only sustainably be successful if we also build in the experiences in life that we thought we would have or would get by having our own business. And most people, by the way, don't get there because they don't build it into the schedule right away. So when I talk to my clients and ask them, how do you, how do you what would you do different if money wasn't an issue? Most of them have a totally different version of themselves in their heads. Yes, so they say, I would spend more time with my children, I would read more, I would travel more, I would do more yoga, I would meditate more, etc. It has never happens because they never build it into their schedule. Okay, so we are, as business owners, we need to be very focused on income, the number of clients that we have, how we deliver and scale, and the meaning that we get out of it. And there are six habits that have been scientifically proven that help us with that. The first habit for this year is seeking clarity. Okay, so note that I said seeking clarity, not having clarity. Because when we live in times of volatility like we're doing right now, we need to seek clarity all the time. In Shelley's case, she said, look, my clients don't want these kind of service right now. It's not on their radar. And so we worked through it. And then I asked her, what do they want? What do they need? Well, she said, so they need this, and that, but I don't have the capability yet. Well, maybe it's the time to build the capability now. And she did, and revenue came back up right away with that same client. And then it turned out later on that there were more companies like that in the same industry that needed that help, and that boosted sales dramatically for her. So seeking clarity. The second habit that leads to more income is productivity, right? So most of us, we do know what is important to us, but we are distracted, right? It's either in the pandemic it was the kids, or my son was here at virtual school, and if I was in a meeting like this and present, and he couldn't go on Zoom and log into his classroom, what do you want me to do, right? But also very often, especially for us business owners, it's all the shiny objects, all the other ideas that we have, the pet projects. Give you an example from my personal life. My wife and I, we built a house in Galway, Ireland. And at one point, the architect came and give you the blueprints. And we were looking at it and trying to figure out where was what, and then we found the kitchen. And then Ed and I had a 2-hour conversation about what we want the kitchen to look like, right? So where the island would be, the flow in the kitchen, how we entertain guests, and where the oven should be, and how what is safe for the kids, and in the fridge, and so on. Awesome conversation. Only it did move our project forward because at the time we didn't even have the building permission yet. So if we only had spent like 10 minutes on filing the building permission, we would have made more progress, right? So productivity is the second habit that gets us the income. And if we have clarity, absolute clarity in what the services are that we need to offer and how we offer them, how we price them, who our ideal clients are, and then we just only focus on the things that we absolutely must do versus what we want to do, what we good to do, what would be hilarious to do, what our pet peeve projects are, right? Income will come, right? So that's the income part. And if you do this, you get results beyond standard norms. And most people don't get there because it's more the competing interest that keeps people from being productive. And then there's some habits such as email, right? So if you manage your emails and you put your emails into folders, don't do it. Right, because research after research shows that the more you organize your emails, the more time you spend, and the less time you have on the important activities. When it comes to impact, it's like the number of clients and how you change your client's world and make a difference in their lives and in their business. There are two habits that I want to share with you right now. And the first one is demonstrate courage. Yes, courage. Because it takes courage to go out and offer something that is half-baked, and you need to develop it as you talk to the client. It takes courage to go on a session like that and expose yourself. Kim talked about vulnerability, which I liked earlier, right? And yeah, sometimes you go out, some people will love you, some people will hate you, right? I watched Brené Brown, a documentary, and I think she said something along the lines, I hope I quote her right, but she said, you know what, most people, the internet is full of cheap people in cheap seats that do not have the courage to go out on the arena, but are readily available to shred those people apart who do, right? So it takes courage. And we know that people have more courage, are also happier in life. They're not just only more successful because they're happier in life. Why? Because they don't care. They have been through it. They have been through all of the criticism, all of the hatred, especially on the web right now, the internet right now. So they're happier. There's a direct correlation between courage and happiness. We also know that competence, for example, is directly related to courage. So, for example, I've done those things a few times. I don't know what I need to do. By and large, I still make mistakes, but it's okay. And that also gives me the ability to take more risks. All right. So if you haven't failed majorly in the last week, then you haven't stretched yourself hard enough. You have not grown. Right? You have not tried something that gets you to that next level. So think about where you can show up more. Speak up for yourself, speak up for your ideas, share something. Ask for help takes courage, because we need to tell other people that we are not as great as we would like to portray ourselves, okay? The fourth habit is influence. If we go out and build our business, we have to have the ability to influence people and rally them behind ourselves to support our cause. And when we don't do this, we're not making progress as fast as we can, because nobody strides alone and makes it to the top. We need people, we need partners, we need joint ventures, we need coaches, we need mentors, peers, we need our family members to support us. How often is the family members that pull us back? And not because they don't want to support us, but because they love us. They are afraid that we're doing something that gets us into danger. So when it comes to meaning, because we really in this business because we want to get out of it. We want to have a lifestyle, we want to choose the clients that we want, the hours that we want to work with, how we deliver, and so on. And the one habit that the most successful people implement is energy. They know how to generate energy. When I give this speech here, for example, I know at any second time in my head, where's my energy level from a scale from 0 to 10? And when it's below 7, I know, boom, I need to get it up, right? If you're having back-to-back meetings and you're not standing up and moving your body is meant to move. Then you need to change that. Just close your eyes for a moment, for example. Just close your eyes and go, just do it with me for a moment. Release, release, release. Just think release and feel, how the tension in your brain melts, if your face muscle melts, and go release. Feel the tension in your jaw and release it. Release it. Doesn't that already feel better? Those little things, if you have those habits all throughout the day, my last client I have to at 8 p.m. to this evening, and they want me as energetic as I'm here right now, right? And we need habits to keep us energized. They have to do with sleep, with eating, and exercising. Our bodies are made to move, and daily energizing. And lastly, it's the sixth habit. It's the experience that we want. Build it in right now. If you feel that if your money didn't matter, you would spend more time with your children, book that time now. It's not going to happen by accident, right? If you feel you need to read more, you would read more, start reading, even if it's just 2 pages a day. So when we implement all of these habits, magic is going to happen. In the case of Shelley, I'm so happy. Like a couple of months ago, she moved into a house. It got certified, and she's on track. So she got the revenue up, doubled her revenue, and she's on track this year to double it again. And that's not because of me, right? So I wish I wish I was that great, but because of the habits that she implemented. She did all the work. And so if you feel that you would like to look at your own situation and see which of those 6 habits you can work on and what that means concretely in terms of strategies and tactics with regard to income, number of clients, and your well-being, I invite you to do a conversation with me. I will share the link here right now. I think, Haley, that's allowed, yes? I don't want to break the rules here.
Yep, totally allowed.
Okay, so I put it in the comment box. If only I could put it in the comment box. Haley, I can put it into the private checkbox here. Would you be able to share
I will get it in the private chat. Yep.
Yeah.
I will grab it from you.
So that's a link to my calendar for an acceleration audit for you. What we're going to do on this call, we're going to have a fast-paced conversation and see where you are right now, where you want to be, what's in the way, and what's possible for you in the next 12 weeks. I hope this was helpful. What I would really love you to do is go back to the group and share with me what was the most important insights that you gained. And I will read it. I'd be happy to respond and help you forward. But next step for you is to schedule like an acceleration audit. All right. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much for talking today. It's funny how I don't even plan it, and these talks all somehow work together. So I love it. Thank you so much, Andrew. And thank you for some awesome tips. I cannot wait.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye. Bye-bye. And we're going to flip and a flop. Hey, how are you?
Hi.
Welcome, Leanne.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Nice to have you here. Welcome. I am so honored to have you here today for this WEN-Talk event. I cannot wait to hear your topic, Leanne. And with that, I am going to give you the stage. I'm going to be hanging out here the whole time, so I'm not disappearing, but I may completely disappear off your stage, which I think is what StreamYard does, but I don't totally turn my camera and everything else off. So
okay. Awesome.
I will be here. With that, I give you the stage. Thanks.
Very good. Well, I feel like that that's a kind of a hard act to follow in a lot of ways, and but I'll just jump in here. And I'm a cellular release hypnotherapist, and what I do mostly is to help people who to overcome traumatic experiences, limiting beliefs, and things like that. So we'll do. I'll talk a little bit. I don't know if there's a chance for questions or not, and then we'll just do a short exercise. So. I'm not exactly need to think about for a minute about where to start. Coming from a business perspective, I think that being clear about there's a lot of buzzwords going on right now. Like I want to find my purpose, and what should I be doing with my life, and what is my purpose, and things like that. And I think that sometimes we tend to put kind of too much emphasis on that, because sometimes, and in a way that we kind of beat ourselves up about it. And so like your purpose can be something as simple as being nice to people, always trying to find the positive aspects of life, things like that. And so we don't have to make it harder than it is. On the other hand, being in a business, we're always constantly looking for, like, am I in the right business? Am I in the right profession? Am I doing the right thing? And unfortunately, depending on what happened in our childhood, a lot of times, or in any aspect of our life, we can develop a lot of limiting beliefs. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I'll never make as much money. And then there's all the limiting beliefs about money itself. Money doesn't grow on trees. Money is evil, all those kinds of things. And so when you find yourself, I think, coming up against those situations, then it's a good time to take a step back and look at it and try to figure out why that is happening. Where did those limiting beliefs and those things even come from? And so when we are at any time in our lives, when, it's really, those are protective mechanisms generated by your subconscious mind. So when you were a kid, you could have been told something, or you could have been, slapped away from the table, or told not to eat something, or not to do something, or that somehow that diminished your worthiness. And your subconscious mind will take those events and they will incorporate them into your body. And they live there, they stay there forever until you really have an opportunity to reprogram your subconscious mind. And so let me take a step back and talk a little bit about traumatic experiences. So a traumatic experience is not the experience itself. A traumatic experience is actually the emotion that you tie to that experience. So that's why some people can be in a car wreck, and for them, it's the worst thing that ever happened to them. And some people can be in a car wreck and they walk away from it and they never look back. It's because of the emotion that you tie to that experience that makes a difference in your life. So, especially when we're between the age of, from birth to about 7, our subconscious minds are just sponges, and they're learning, and they're picking up, and they're just absorbing everything from our home life and our cultures that we live in and our communities that we live in, and what we're exposed to in schools and things like that. And so you develop these limiting beliefs, where you develop coping mechanisms, is really what it is. And so when you have so your subconscious mind does that in order to protect you. However, as we grow up and we get older, a lot of times those protective mechanisms get outdated. Like, we just don't need it anymore. But it's really hard for your subconscious mind to understand that and to know that. And so that's why it's important to reprogram your subconscious mind. And that's where you can ask your subconscious mind, do I really need to believe about myself that I'm not worthy? Do I really need to believe this about myself, that I can't make money, because I could really use some money right now? And so it's very, very simple. Using hypnotherapy as one mode. There's several different modes out there, but several modes. What I do is to reprogram your subconscious mind. And then your subconscious mind can be like, I don't need that anymore. Well, isn't that interesting? I just don't need that anymore. And then the really great thing about it is that you more or less forget. You more or less just forget that was even a problem. And then you can, start making money, be successful in your business, or be successful in whatever it is that you want. I had mentioned before about purpose and finding your purpose. And I think it's also really, really important in finding your purpose is to be okay with whatever it is that you're choosing to do in your life. There's a reason that these things continue to keep coming up over and over again in your life. And somehow, because you do have a divine purpose to fulfill those things that come up in your life. So give yourself credit for what you're doing. If you find yourself, kind of beating yourself up about, like, am I doing the right thing? You probably are. Give yourself some credit for that. It doesn't have to be the biggest and best thing that we ever learn about or think that we're going to do in our lifetimes. Think about, and also, in any area of your life, physically, emotionally, spiritually, energetically, think about the things that are keeping you stuck and begin to recognize some of your patterns. And that's going to really, really help a lot. So then, let's see, I just had a couple of notes here. I also think that, for me, a lot, when I think about what am I doing in my business and why am I doing it, my business being in cellular release hypnotherapy is also very spiritual. It's transpersonal work. And to me, my business is my spiritual practice. And so, and even though I would love to make more money than I do in my business, I have to look at that and say, really, what am I fulfilling, and how does that fulfill me? And when I came to the realization that really that is my spiritual practice as much as my business, that just, I don't know, it solidified something. Just really, really, it just made it, it was like, yeah, that's my purpose, and I can't seem to walk away from it. So I just keep doing it, and I love doing it. And it can be used to heal, like I said, some limiting beliefs when you're doing, when you're thinking about money and your business and work, but also any emotional problems that you have. It's not what I really meant. Any place that you're stuck, you will find it just coming up more and more in your life. So I also work a lot with people who are healing physical problems, diseases, chronic diseases. And my four pillars of healing anything, any place in your life when you're stuck, but chronic disease, business issues that you're going through. And I think that these are really important. These are the most important things in your lifetime that you need to heal. So the first one is being human. And it actually kind of spells out HEAL, to heal. So being human. We really are here on the planet for a purpose. And I do strongly believe that purpose is to evolve ourselves and to evolve humanity. Some people might call it karma. It's also, we will, until we resolve issues in our life, then we will choose to continue to come back and to really resolve to have those experiences that will help us resolve those issues. And we will continue to do that. We can do that on several different planes and several different vibratory states, but you can do that in a spiritual realm, but you can do that as a human. And I really do believe that the reason that being human is like a fast track to to resolving those karmic issues that you need to resolve. And so it's one reason that we decide to continue to come back and to be incarnated onto the planet, is to have that human experience and to learn about non-duality and being 100% human and 100% spiritual at the same time. But it's like a fast track. But the only way through to the other side is through. You can't skip that over. And so it's really important to just be human and to really, really embrace that humanity. And I think that if I could change anything in the world, I would, my personal mantra is world peace, one consciousness at a time. And it dawned on me that when people can really not be afraid of dying and not being afraid of death, then they can live and they can really embrace that being human. And I just think that is so important. And, I'd love to work with people who are grieving and who are going through the grieving process and finding those silver linings and finding that love for the people that they have lost. Because really, when you think about it, grief is very much love. If you don't truly, truly love somebody, then when they die, you're not going to grieve for them. And so if you can start to turn that horrible, grief can be so debilitating, but if you can turn that into an attitude of how much you grieve for somebody is how much you love somebody, I think that can really, really make a huge difference in people's lives. But the point is, being human, we are here for a reason, and live that life fully. And that kind of goes back to your purpose of being able to, just to embrace everything that you're doing and to do that as full out as you possibly can. Live. I think that's the main thing that we came here to do. We need to live, but we also have the opportunity to heal those karmic experiences that we need to heal, and so that we can continue to evolve. The second pillar is healing, is the emotional part of it, is actually healing the emotions from traumatic experiences. And like I had said earlier, trauma is not the experience. Trauma is the emotion that you assign to the experience. And so it is very, very important to heal those emotions. And there's so many different ways to do that. And I believe that, talk therapy is a good place to start. But there are so many other ways to go so much deeper and heal those, really, really heal those emotions on a soul level, which is really, really where it's at. So the other part of the 4 pillars of healing is HEAL is spiritual awakening. And again, I do believe that that is part of the human experience, is to have that spiritual awakening and to be able to know, to understand, who we really are, that we are not separate, that we are, that there is non-duality, that we are the same as everybody else, and that we are ultimately connected, and that we are one, and that also you are creating your reality. You are creating your own experiences, and you are creating you are creating your own experiences, and you have that power. And when you can realize that power, I think that is that's glorious. And be able to really embrace, again, that's where you embrace that being human, is in your spiritual awakenings. And again, going back to the grief part, that makes the living and the dying, puts that at a very, very different perspective. And so I think that that's extremely important as a way to live. So the 4th pillar is actually soul's lifetime. HEAL is your lifetimes. So I do fully believe in reincarnation, and that that we do live over and over and over again, and that we carry those wounds from past lifetimes into this lifetime. And I say past lifetimes, but I'm going to be a little bit loose with that, because I do also believe that time is a human construct, and it is not. We use time to explain how we live and where we live, but actually I see it as more of a like, your models of molecules, and the when you think about the planets in the universe, it's really parallel, or it's all happening at different times. So that's why because we are holographic beings, and the soul is really, your subconscious is really the your soul and your subconscious mind have a bridge and are that connection. And so I was talking about lifetimes. So when you have an experience in a past life, if you don't heal that experience, then that experience will need to be healed in other lifetimes. And being holographic beings, if we take that opportunity to heal that experience today in this lifetime, then you are healing past lives, you are healing future lives, you are healing parallel lives. You have the opportunity and the choice and the control to heal all of that trauma all at once. And it really is, when you are working in the quantum field, it really is that simple. It is just all at once, you're good to go. It is profound, and it is simple, and it is amazing. And so when I think about, again, back to, we all have our life purpose, and and you can find that life purpose. And when you can experience a healing at that deep of a level, and having that spiritual awakening too, then you begin to realize that everything is possible, how glorious this life is, and how really privileged we are to live it and to be a part of evolving humanity through all lifetimes. So I think I talked for a lot. I'm about at the end.
Thank you so much.
say. Yeah. That went by fast.
It does, right? And
Yeah, it
thank
really
you so
does.
much for sharing. It's really interesting to me to see how the talks kind of blend into one another.
Mhm, mhm.
You know, it's a
Yeah,
glorious life.
it is. It is. And that's why, that's like that's being, seeing that and allowing that to happen is, is a, is just, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yes.
So let me
Thank you
put,
so much.
I'm sorry.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I'll put a link. If somebody wants to, I'll just throw this in really quickly. I love to talk to people. I love to talk about this subject. If there's anybody who would like to reach out to me, I put a connect. I'll put that in there. It's my booking calendar, and I'd love to talk to you. And and if I can help you, that would be awesome. Also, thank you so much, Haley.
Thank
This
you
has
so
been
much,
great.
Leanne. And I have posted that over in the chat. And I
Awesome.
appreciate your time today and for being a
Okay.
speaker. Welcome. Thank
Thank you
you.
very much. Bye.
Bye-bye. And with that, we're about to add my dear friend, Katerina Rendo, who is running around in the corner somewhere, getting ready to speak to us because, well, that she is really, really awesome that way. And welcome, Katerina, my dear, dear friend. I am so excited to have you here today. I can't wait for your talk.
Yay, I am blessing, my friend, to be with you and to be with all the women of the Women Entrepreneur Network. Everybody, let's take a deep breath. Today, my hot topic with you is achieving sales bliss. This is what I want to talk to you about because, we live in this world where we see 500,000 marketing messages every day. And some of them are from people that are telling you they're making so many thousands of dollars every day and every week and every month. And you might feel like, okay, I have to do this and I have to do that and I have to do this other thing. And you try different things and it's not getting you the results you want. Well, let's talk about some things that are really going to work for you today, tomorrow, 5 years, 10 years down the road. And I can tell you this because I've been in this business for 28 years, supporting women on a mission just like you to be themselves, do their thing, serve their people, and also massively monetize our mastery, your mastery, their mastery. My first business, though, was I owned a cafe and catering business. And you know what happens when you have a cafe? As long as the sun is shining and you want some customers, all you have to do is turn on the lights and open the door. Well, it doesn't quite work as easily when we are working, many of us, from home. And what I found was that not only do we have to find customers, potential clients, we have to get them to want to work with us. And right now, I'm going to start to give you the first of many super tips in our brief time together to get clients. But here's the thing I want you to know. It all starts with influence. Nobody buys from us unless we have influence. Did you hear that? Nobody buys from us unless we have influence. And this is why I want to give you the influence equation. Ready for it? Here it is. Visibility plus value plus consistency equals influence. Visibility. This is not only showing up, this is making yourself known. People know you were there. Now, in a virtual setting, that is posting, that is Facebook Lives, that is doing your own virtual Zoom thing, hosting Clubhouse rooms. All of this gets not only your positive energy, but gets your massive value out there. And that's what I want for you. And I want to ask you right now, are you showcasing not only yourself, but are you showcasing the massive value that you have to bring? What do I mean by that? Do you share super tips and guiding principles, or do you talk about what's going on for you personally? Well, what do people care about? They care about, hey, how can you help me? But more importantly, I want you to look at creating interactive ways for people to connect with you. This is why I am a huge fan of Clubhouse, because you can interact with your clients and potential clients. This is why I'm a huge fan of doing your own Zoom thing, so you can interact with people. Because here's the thing about visibility. Now, if you've been around the block for several years like me, you know that it takes at least 8 to 10 contacts with people to have them be open to working with you. Well, guess what? It's not only that. Some studies, Google did a study in 2019, showed that it takes 25 contacts. Now you might say, oh my God, that's depresso. Well, guess what? It's not, because you know what? It all counts. When people see you in their email box, it counts. When they see you on social media, it counts. When they hear your name in a conversation, it all counts to build not only visibility, but there's something in psychology called the Law of Familiarity. And what the Law of Familiarity says is, the more I see your beautiful face, I hear your name, I see your posts, I'm aware of you, the more I know you, like you, and even trust you, even if I never met you. Isn't that amazing? Now, I'm sharing this with you because oftentimes, okay, this is super tip alert. We get discouraged. We wrote these great posts. We took these great pictures. We did an amazing Facebook Live, and nothing happened. Well, the truth is that it's not that nothing happened. It's that nothing insta happened. You make 10 calls, nobody signs up. It's like nothing happened. No, nothing insta happened. And this is what I want you to recognize, that you want to keep doing what works even when it's not working. Did you hear that? That's a guiding principle for your whole business. Do what works even when it's not working. And consistent visibility is an important part of this. Consistent marketing, consistent selling. Okay, we're still talking about the influence equation. Visibility plus value. This is where I really want you to look at what is the massive value that you are bringing. And this is the idea that you have a lifetime supply of value to bring. Now, why am I reminding you this here and right now? Because a lot of experts say, well, you tell them what they need to do, but you don't tell them how to do it. Okay, remember, you got a lifetime supply. I got a lifetime supply of value to bring. And when you share with generosity your massive value, your super tips, your ideas, your philosophy, your guiding principles, people will get value, and they will know you have value, and they will want more, which is why they will then come and work with you. Visibility plus value. Now, the thing is, though, that when we talk about value, I just said to you, your super tips, share your ideas, but there's a whole nother huge aspect of value that I don't want you to forget. I don't want you to negate. And most importantly, I actually want you to amplify it. And that is your heart skills. Value is also kindness, graciousness, genuine caring, being a good listener, being non-judgmental, holding space for someone to share. And I'm shining the spotlight here with you because for some of you, you're in your own business now, but you used to work for an institution or a corporation. And it was the kind of place where they didn't want you to wear your heart on your sleeve. Does that resonate with anyone here? If not, if it does, please let me know. And let me tell you, I speak to enough fabulous audiences that this is what they tell me. Oh, I wasn't supposed to be empathetic. I wasn't supposed to, if I cried, oh my God, that would be the end of my career. Okay, here's what I want you to know. Not only do I want you to wear your heart on your sleeve, my friend, I want you to wear your heart all over your business. Because the truth is that when people know you genuinely care about them, that lets them know that you genuinely want to do a good job for them. And that has them lean in to work with you. Don't forget about your heart skills and amplify them when we're talking about how you do business. We've got the visibility, we've got the value, and the third part of the influence equation is consistency. Now, let's be very clear. If you're not being consistent, then you're not going to get those results that you're looking for. And some of you, and I want you to ask yourself right now, are you being consistent with everything that you're doing? And remember, I'm here to talk about achieving sales bliss. And let's be very clear. If you're not reaching out to people to talk to you about being your client, if you're not having conversations with people to be your client on a consistent basis, you're not going to get clients on a consistent basis. How much time are you spending every week devoted to your sales? Now, I'm asking you, and however much it is, it's probably not enough in most cases, because well, actually, I'm going to give it to you in a second, but want to say one thing more about consistency. You, as the CEO of your own company, have 5 important jobs. 5. That's a lot of jobs. 5 jobs. Your job is to be visible. That's the speaking part. Like I'm doing now, like everything we talked about, clubhouse rooms, podcasting, speaking at groups, doing your own Zoom workshop. That's speaking. Unless you have a spokesperson for your business. If you don't, you're it. Your next job is selling. Again, unless you have a sales force. If you got a sales force, that's fine. But otherwise, look in the mirror, sweetheart. You're the salesperson. Speaking, selling, of course, serving your clients, right? You're doing that unless you have a team. Now, you may have a team that helps you, but you're still a part of that. Speaking, selling, serving your amazing clients. Your 4th job is strategy, the goal setting, the calendaring. We often don't think that calendaring is an important part of strategy. When are you going to do what? When is these different products or services you offer going to be delivered? Speaking, selling, serving, strategy. And the last one, of course, I put it at the last because my others are favorite towards the front. But the most important one is self-care. Speaking, selling, serving, strategy, and self-care. Now, I'm sure you agree, those are 5 important jobs, yes? And I want you to ask yourself right now, aside from those 5 jobs, what else are you doing? Are you fooling around with your website? Are you fooling around trying to edit some video or some podcasting? Are you being your admin assistant? Are you being your bookkeeper? Are you shipping? My friend, none of that is your job. Because not only do you have these 5 jobs, your job is to master these 5 jobs. You don't just want to sell, you want to be masterful at selling. You don't just want to serve your clients, you want to serve them outstandingly. You know what? I got the best compliment I think I've ever gotten from a client a couple weeks ago. She said, Katerina, your client experience is spectacular. Made me so happy. I'm still blissing from that compliment. Why? Because I'm always looking at how can I serve my clients better? How can we improve their experience? But I can't have my attention on that and also my attention on selling and also my attention on speaking and also my attention on strategy and self-care if I'm also the bookkeeper, the shipper, the admin assistant, and all that. No, my friend, you have 5 jobs and you want to master those 5 jobs. And how do you do that? By giving them a lot of attention. Are you following me on this? Okay, let's take another deep breath. Now, I'm talking with you about these 5 jobs. You say, well, Katerina, I thought we're talking about sales. Yeah, because guess what? It's all those things that are not your job that are taking away from you having time to reach out to people. Now, right now, I am going to give you your equation for massive sales. You ready for it? Equation for massive sales. You take however many new clients you want to add this month, and you times that by 4. Let's say you want 5 new clients this month. Then you want to have 20 conversations with people about working with you. Now, that's only a 25% close ratio. You may have a 50% or a 75 or even 80% close ratio. But for the purpose of sales strategy, I want you to operate with times 4. Now, if you want to talk to 20 people, then you want to reach out and invite 20 conversations you want times 4. That's 100. No, 20, 40, 60, 80. That's 80 people that you want to reach out to. Now you say, oh my gosh, Katerina, that's too many. No, it's not. Because you have the whole month to do it. Did you hear that? You have the whole month to do it. But guess what? You can't do it if you don't have the time blocked out to do it. And part of sales strategy is blocking out time on your calendar for sales conversations. And also, if you don't have those conversations, for reaching out. Now, maybe you say, Katerina, I do not have 80 people to reach out to. Yes, you do. You've got probably a gazillion, not a gazillion, maybe up to 5,000 Facebook friends. You've got connections on LinkedIn. You've got connections on Instagram. You've got connections on Clubhouse. All of these are people that I don't suggest you invite to a conversation. I suggest you invite them to a virtual Zoom workshop or a Clubhouse room where you can actually interact with them on whatever your hot topic is. Did you hear that? For example, I have clients that do image and styling and fashion, and they say, hey, come to my free Zoom workshop. Well, that's not intimidating for people that don't know you, as opposed to saying, hey, come to my, let's have a one-on-one Zoom connect. Well, oftentimes people are not ready for that. Remember, you have to build influence with people before they're ready to buy. Did you hear that? Now, when you operate with that principle, then when you're reaching out, you're not reaching out, hey, you want to buy something. You're reaching out and you're saying, hey, come to my free workshop. Hey, join me on Zoom. We're going to be talking about this hot topic. Oh, hey, join me on Clubhouse. This is the topic for the room. So this way, people have an unintimidating way to be with you, to gain massive value. And after that, you invite them to be your client. By the way, notice that I'm saying reach outs. I'm saying invite. You can post until your fingers are bloody, and that will not bring you, oh, that's not a very good image. Okay, so let's just say you can post and post and post. But you know what? Personal invitations over promotion will bring you people who will come to your Zoom thing, who will come to your clubhouse room, derrieres and chairs, if you are live and in person, 10 times more than the promotion you will do. My friends, oh, by the way, I have a great video on my free links there. If you go to katarinarando.com/links, I want to invite you to watch my free video on geotargeting on Facebook. Now, it's got nothing to do with ads. This is all about how you can quickly send personal direct messages to lots of people in a short amount of time without going to their profile. Those all count as personal reach outs, and that will help you increase the smiles on the screen at your events. I encourage you to look at that. That will help you with this. And also, please join me. I have one coming up next month for my Achieving Sales Bliss workshop, because I want you to sell with authenticity in a way that feels good to you after building massive value with people and inviting them to come and be with you. And that's what I want for you, because if you can't sell, you can't serve, and you can't uplift everyone you want to uplift and have massive impact through your business. I'm Katarina Rando. Please follow the links for my many free business resources, including Achieving Sales Bliss workshop coming up free, and also the geotargeting video that will support you to get more smiles on the screen. My friend, you have massive value to bring. There's a lifetime supply of people to serve. Let's sell more so we can serve more, have more impact, and make the world a better place. Bing, bing. Thank you. Thank you, Haley.
Thank
so
you.
happy to be here.
Bing, bing, bing. I love it. Thank you. And I agree with you. Spray and pray is what I call it, is never the way to get derriere in chairs. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Haley.
For being a
So good to
speaker
be
today.
with you. Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you so much. Thank you. Take care and have a blissful day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello, Pete.
Hi.
How are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. I am excited for your presentation, and I cannot wait. So Pete has got some amazing stuff that he is working on. I'm a big believer in this whole sales, operations, business process side too. So we got the first half of this WEN-Talk was all about mindset and believing in yourself. And this is the actual like doing it piece. So welcome. I am going to give you the stage and maximize your view, and I will be here the whole time. Thank you.
How long do I have, Haley?
You have 20 minutes.
Perfect. How can I share my screen?
There is a share button at the bottom.
Okay. Give me 1 second here. I'm so happy to be here with you guys. This is so much fun. Is my screen now visible? Ooh, feedback.
It is.
So let me come over to here. And so I want to give a little bit of background just on where my journey into entrepreneurship and what really inspired me to move forward with starting a business. Early on, I remember getting a lot of what I started to call well-intentioned bad advice. And so, from friends and family, starting a business is really hard, and everything, starting a business really fails. That the failure statistics are just really through the roof. And if they don't see your vision for what you see it, then you get a lot of just, like I said, well-intentioned bad advice. But what really gave me the courage to move forward was thinking about the philosophies that Michael Gerber really instilled through the E-Myth, the idea of systematizing a business, every little minute part of the business to work out the fine details, to test things, to be analytical, and it's not a mystery. If we can just figure out how to move customers from A to B, B to C, C to D, then you're going to have a business that eventually starts to become profitable, that begins to succeed, that you're not stressing out over. And so it was those thoughts that really said, well, if I haven't made it yet, it's really only because I haven't systematized things enough. And so I started a business. I started a marketing company, just knocking on every door in Hoboken, and just figuring it out along the way, and just building and building and thinking in terms of systems. And so now we have this company that we call Segwick, and it's all about systematizing small business, closing that knowledge gap, and figuring out, how do I run a business as frictionlessly as possible, committed to the idea of systems. And so I thought that I would just dive in for this presentation, I guess you can call it a storyboard. I started to call them business storyboards. And so if I zoom out over here, this is one of my favorite clients to work with these days. And they're an awning manufacturer and sales company based out of Edison, New Jersey. And when I found them, they were probably at 3 million in sales, 20 employees during peak season. But they were, what fascinated me about them was they had probably 600 awning installations in a 4 or 5 month period, from April all the way to the end of September. 5, 6, 7, sometimes 12 awning installations per day. And so when you're operating at that level, and $3 to $4 million business is not that big of a business, but that's like a lot of stuff to manage. It's a lot of quotes, it's a lot of phone calls, it's a lot of texting, it's a lot of emails, it's a lot of meetings with customers, just a ton of stuff to orchestrate. And most companies just sort of do that like on autopilot. They do that in an improvised kind of manner. And because they do that in an improvised manner, it just sort of knots up the whole process, the whole day, the sort of week to week, the month to month, just sort of turns into this sort of permanent gelatinous knot. And no matter what you try to do to grow that thing, it just doesn't happen. And so they were almost, an early inspiration for me to really get into what I do now. And so I want to just share with you guys what, isn't that scary. This is a customer journey that we are building for them. And if I zoom out even further, you could see this customer journey that we are building. And at any one of these points, I could probably talk for 20, 30 minutes on any one of these little nodes in the journey. But I was just going to dive in and, maybe just start at the top and try to make this not too super boring. But I'm actually going to compare what you see, to what's actually implemented for them, because it's great to have this all out in theory, but if it's not implemented, then it's just words on a piece of paper. So where do we start? Where does a journey start here? And so let's say that we have a proactive prospect. Maybe they're doing an internet search. Maybe they're on social media. Maybe it was a referral or through some online piece of content. But they land here on a website, landing page, primary page. And what do? Well, maybe they talk to the chatbot, or maybe they submit a website form. And so right here, that's the beginning of a customer journey. Think of that as the beginning of a customer journey. And so let's see what that looks like for this client. So for that client, Majestic Awning, what do we see here? We see a website that is nice, it's engaging, but all of the best practices that go into this part of the customer journey are basically accounted for. It could always be better, but it's accounted for. Well, what are those best practices? The site loads fast. Look how fast it loads. It's mobile responsive, meaning it sort of switches and makes, becomes mobile. It's filled with content, tons of content, lots of words for SEO. Easy to find contact information, strong call to action, that's bold. And well, what do you see if you click on that strong call to action? Well, you see this form. Okay, so you see that form. And so that's the form that corresponds in this journey to this very beginning part of the journey. And so your website is sort of, think of it as the beginning of a customer journey. Now, it may be the case that there's some stuff that happens before this, but that's the entry point. Consider that the entry point for your customer journey. There's other places where they can enter. They might be a referral or advertising or old contacts, and you make an outbound phone call. And up here, I was working on another section where, hey, maybe they call inbound phone call, but that's a little getting off topic. But the point is that they enter the customer journey. Well, maybe they call this phone number, or they fill out this form, or sometimes we have a calendar booker. That's an entry point to the customer journey. And so what happens next? Well, the contact would be saved to the database, and an email would be triggered, and a text message would be triggered. Well, let's see that in action. I'm going to, hope this thing doesn't make a liar out of me, and fill out this form. And hello, Pete, testing. And I hope that it doesn't make a liar out of me. And let's see an email get generated. Gmail. I get a lot of emails over here. Add another account. Now everybody watching knows how to spam me. Denied. I don't want to go into all that. I could show you the email from within their CRM. So let's dive into the CRM, and I'll show you what I was going to show you. So I can come into their CRM. And if everything was working correctly, I can see right here an email, 2 outbound emails. One email is the internal new prospect alert. And here's the content that was sent to info@Majestic Awning. That's an internal alert. Well, here's the thing that the customer received. The customer received, hello, Pete, this is Majestic Awning letting you know your message has been received, and shade is on the way. So a really friendly email, branded logo that looks very nice, and it even tracks the open. And so that was sent to PeteRomano38@gmail.com. And so the customer journey is beginning. Now, if you were to follow that graph, oops, I don't want pink browser. Oh no, did I just make my browser pink? That would be hilarious. Get out of here. I love live tech demonstrations. So if everything was going to plan, and this graph is a little aspirational, not every aspect is implemented, but what I want to happen, this is the plan, this is what's on the paper, is that I want to add that person to the outbound phone queue. they get so busy that they need to implement a phone queue to put the phone calls in an order that is most advantageous to internal operations and the customers. And so add it to the phone queue, and then you call the contact right here. And then, well, what happens? What happens when you get on a call? So you need to have all of this mapped out. All of this has to be mapped out. What happens when you get on the call? Well, two things can happen. They're a qualified prospect, or they're not a qualified prospect. And so let's follow that path down here. Not a qualified prospect. Then if they're not qualified, well, what is disqualifying them? What might be, so we call that dispositioning the caller to take the temperature of the caller, really. It might have been a wrong number. Oh, sorry, sorry for bothering you, Majestic. Or maybe they were trying to sell us something. Or we called them back and there was no answer. So inconclusive. Or the guy, when we called him back, hey, I'm so busy, I want to talk about an awning, but I'll call you back in 20 minutes. Okay, well, call back later. Well, call back later might be they were busy, they were interested, but not now, spoke with the wrong person. Or, hey, just send me an email, guys. Just send me an email about it. That'll be fine. I don't want to be bothered. So all of this sounds really familiar, right? But for most of us, we have not mapped it out to this degree necessary. And so then take notes on the contact. If they're disqualified, update their status. And for some of these people, loop them back into the recycle bin, if you want to call it, and bring them back up and call them later. Maybe you call them in 3 hours. Maybe you call them in 24 hours, whatever is the best outcome. But hoping that the prospect is qualified, well, for this kind of structure, we have 2 levels of sales. The sales team is busy. They're talking to qualified prospects. And so we have an army of not experienced salespeople that are more like meeting setters. They're good enough to get people on the phone. They're good enough to talk about basic things related to Majestic and other aspects, but they're not tasked with closing a sale. So if this meeting setter gets a qualified lead, well, they're trained to begin to transfer that person to an internal salesperson right here. And that internal salesperson dives deeper into the whole process of selling this awning. And so, they're going to have questions. They're going to be more highly trained. They're going to have FAQs right there, ready to answer questions that they might not be super sure about. But they're going to be trained to handle that call. And in this particular case, they're not selling over the phone. They're not looking to close deals over the phone, because even though it's not a complex product to sell, there's still specific things that Majestic does to make sure that the installation goes well. Because Majestic, unlike other companies, they take full responsibility for the installation, for the mounting, all of this. It's not just shipping them a prefabricated product and saying, Mr. Customer, installation's on you. This client actually installs. So they have to go to the home. They have to take measurements. They want to be sure of the sizes, because they don't want to build the wrong thing. So this internal salesperson, who's highly trained, can answer nearly all of the questions, They don't really go out on sales calls. They schedule with an outside sales rep. And so I'm going to show you guys what that looks like. And that may be all of the time that I have. I'll do a time check here, guys, soon. What is our time? So over here, I have my contact profile in their system. And if I'm the internal salesperson looking to schedule an appointment for the at-home estimate, I just need to reach up and grab the correct meeting type. So if I grab the right meeting type and pick the right staff member, I'm able to schedule that meeting and move that person further down the customer journey. So what we're getting at now is that the person wants to move forward. They said, yes, when can I send a person to your home? They agree on a time, and the worker has the minimal effort here because it's all about removing friction from the process. At this moment, they have the minimal effort here to get that appointment on the calendar and to communicate that to multiple interested parties internally, the salesperson, the sales director, other people. And so what happens is,
Cool. Thank you.
hey, am I running out of time?
You are out of time.
Okay, pardon. Okay, so more will have to come later about the customer journey.
Awesome. And I think it's important to say, if you're not aware of what your customer journey is, that's where most of the people I work with start is, what is my customer journey? And they'll give me a blank look. Oh, well, I got a freebie download. Okay, now what?
Yeah, it's so much more, and this is really the opportunity to have fun with things. This is the fun part about your business. This is making your business permanent,
Yep.
and scalable, and really getting your messaging down correct.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being a speaker today. I appreciate it, and we will see you soon.
Thanks, Haley.
Thank you, Pete. Hello, Mike. Hello, hello. You were going to have to unmute yourself, sir. The
Trying to
eternal
be
muting.
a good eavesdropper, and look what it did. So yes, hello. How are you
being
today?
an awesome eavesdropper. I'm doing really well. How are you doing?
Doing good. Just got back from my BNI meeting. Again, met a couple new people, built some relationships. So look out.
Let's do it.
Yep.
Cool. Well, with that, I'm going to give you the stage.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everybody. I hope all is well. My name is Mike Manning. I'm a business coach in Raleigh, North Carolina. Love working with small business owners to grow their business through relationships. We can all do radio advertisements and door hangers and social media posts and stuff that we don't connect on. You can comment or chat with the folks there. But I want to talk about relationships. A lot of it is through networking, but relationship marketing and why it's better and easier and more profitable. There's a lot of productive things, but is it profitable for you and your business? If you think about your personal life, who do you have relationships with and why? And do you recommend them for things and why? And why would you not apply that to your business world as well? Same things. Know, like, and trust. Those are the people we refer, whether we know them through the neighborhood, our kids' schools, our church, or they're a client, a vendor, a coworker. That's who we recommend. So relationship marketing is about developing those relationships for two reasons. A couple of things I'm going to talk about here through in this presentation. We're all here to get business. There's nothing wrong with that. And in the small business training I do in BNI, Business Networking International, I tell people all the time, you have my permission to say, I want to do the least amount of work for the most amount of money. Because isn't a goal of having your own business to be flexible? Some people want all the money in the world. I want flexibility. Got one grandchild, got another one on the way. Can't wait to be able to just pick up and go, oh, yep, I can be there in a couple hours. But so what do you want out of your business? And one of the things is flexibility that we love. Most of us would want Friday off. And if not all of Friday, maybe half of Friday. Some people want a beach house, want a mountain house, want a boat. So it's okay to do the least amount of work for the most amount of business and tell people that. But you got to develop these relationships to start building those pipelines so you keep getting referred. And you want the relationships going both ways. You want the relationships with people that are going to refer you, and you want the relationships with the people you refer. So there's no doubt when that call is made, either you're being sent out or you're sending someone out, that the client loves them. but you have to make yourself referable to those trusted sources. You can't just say, hey, I've been doing this 14 years. I've helped a bunch of businesses. I know I can help yours. Give me a call. That's not really going to do it. That's not going to connect people with you because they didn't learn anything. I don't know you. I know what you do because you stated your business name, but I don't know how and why you do things. So we want to build relationships that way. And I always tell people to build it through personal connections. When I do a one-to-one with someone, I go on their LinkedIn profile and their Facebook page. I want to know about them. I want to know where they went to school. Do they have kids? Can we connect there? Do we have hobbies that we have in common? I want to connect there because when we meet and start talking, and the first thing we talk about is something fun, that we both went to the same school. We both grew up in the same town. Met a lady the other day for the first time that was from Delmont, Pennsylvania, right outside Pittsburgh. Well, I spent, I think, ages 3 through 5 there in Delmont. And we connected on that. We laughed about that for 10 minutes. And that just brings that business wall down. Because a lot of times you go to one-to-one with somebody, you're like, oh God, they're going to sell me something. I don't want to buy it. So that's the value of the relationship. And also when you build relationships with other vendors, you become a hero to your clients. So they will call you, they'll call Haley for a landscaper. They'll call Haley for a painter. They'll call Haley for a personal trainer. They'll call Haley for all those things because she keeps delivering. And at the end of the day, folks, that is customer retention 101 because you are delivering for your customers. So now whenever they need anything, they're not even looking around. They're not Googling anything. They're just calling Haley. Hey, I need this. Do you know somebody that does that? That's what relationships are all about. And especially on the business side, customer retention. Again, least amount of work, most amount of money. The other thing on relationship marketing is value. Do you know the difference between farming and hunting? I'm not a hunter or a fisherman, but I have family members that are. And you just picture a fisherman and they say, hey, the trout or the bass are really biting in this river or lake, wherever you are. And you go there and you put bait on your hook and you throw that hook in the water and you wait. You kind of know they're there. You don't know if those are the ones you want, but you know there are fish in there and you have no idea what fish is going to take a nibble on your bait and you're going to pull them in. May or may not be what you want. That's hunting and fishing. That, it's like, hey, we're going dove hunting. We hear the dover, and you have deer season and all of these seasons. We know they're there, but we don't know where they are. We're just going to go sit and wait. Versus farming. Farmers grow wheat, they grow corn, they grow, apples, they do, plant and grow all kinds of things because the ground is fertile. And they know that because year after year, they replicate their farming. So you want to be able to replicate your business for that very reason. So you always want to be farming. Go where there's fertile ground. Go where your ideal clients are. So let's talk real quick with regard to relationships, just the numbers. First of all, you want to focus on the people that keep referring you. If a commercial realtor keeps referring you, A, take care of them, but B, go find other commercial realtors. Again, you're farming. Don't call a business coach because now you're hunting. Hey, he or she probably knows a commercial realtor, but you're hunting. Go meet the commercial realtor, start farming because you obviously have something that they need. 61% of customers give a referral. That's pretty good. Again, customer retention. Are you delivering? 70% of business to business salespeople tell us that there's a higher conversion rate on a referral. Again, what's your conversion rate? If they come from referrals, they're going to be higher. Referrals convert 30% better than leads, depending on how you track stuff. That's a pretty good number as well. And also over and over again, referred customers stay with us longer because they're referred by someone that they know. And think about you as the consumer. Did someone send you to a hairdresser, to a mechanic, to a chiropractor, to a school, to a church? You as a consumer, how did that benefit you? And who have you been referred to and why? You probably knew the folks. But again, you've got to track your numbers, because it does no good if you have all these meetings with commercial realtors, but you don't track what comes of it. If you don't, you won't know that commercial realtors are bringing you business. So that's why you always want to track your numbers. So again, you as the consumer, what works for you? If your best friend says, hey, I want to try out this new restaurant that opened just down the road from me, what do you think? And you say, what do they serve? Well, I don't know exactly what it is, but a lot of friends have told me it's good and I think we'll have fun. Well, you know what? You're going to go. That's your trusted source. It might be, well, it's kind of Italian, it's kind of Mediterranean, it's kind of this cuisine, that cuisine, whatever it is. But your trusted source knows you, is looking out for your best interest, and is going to invite you. So you're probably going to go. So who do you refer, and who have you been referred to? And I go back to the who do you refer. My rule of thumb is, would you send them to your mother's house to fix anything, to do anything? That's my rule of thumb right there. If you trust them that much to send them to your mother's house, then you can send them out to other mothers' houses. And would someone send you to their mother's house? Again, how well do you know them? There's a different level of knowing people. And we all know this. Well, I kind of know them. And then there's others like, oh, I know them. Oh, we're tight. Yeah, we refer each other. So always be aware of that. But let's work backwards from that relationship, because as we get to know people through these one-to-ones, cup of coffee, lunch, playing golf, whatever you do, you got to know what to say to them, because we all meet in the Raleigh area. There are over 12,000 licensed realtors, residential realtors. Now think about that for a minute. This is a decent size area, but there's 12,000 people that have their license. And oh, by the way, there were 300 houses on the market in Raleigh last week. 300. Do the math. All right. Now, a lot of the realtors are part-time. Some of them aren't really aggressive in networking and marketing, but think about that. So if you're selling a house, you need a trusted source, because you're going to get multiple offers. You're going to get multiple offers with cash. How are you going to make that decision of which offer to take? You need a trusted source. Your friend knows a realtor that sold them their house. There's your trusted source. But let's back up to the messaging of the people we meet. So we do these one-to-ones, and they say, hey, Mike, what do you do? Oh, well, I help small business owners. Okay, well, what does that mean? And I'm like, I can help with anything. That doesn't work. So your message when you're at a networking event, and I always tell people, record yourself on your phone, the video part of it. All right, video and audio, but I need the video so you can see and hear you how we see and hear you. Because in our head, when we make up our 30-second elevator pitch, we're like, wow, that is awesome. Who's not going to hire me? But then when you record yourself and you play it back, you may have stammered over a word. You may have forgotten to get this point in, and then you can practice that and get better. When you go to networking events, the next one you go to, listen to people and think and just say, Mike told me to listen for this. When they're doing their elevator pitch, can you determine if they live it or they just memorized it? All right. So think about that for a second. The people that memorized it are reading from their 4-color, 3-panel flyer. That's boring. Don't do it. But again, it also doesn't connect you. But if you tell a story, hey, so Mike, what do you do? Hey, let me tell you about a client I was working with last week. We were struggling on this. We talked through it. We came up with a game plan, and now his phone is ringing more. So in that story, there's a solution that's going to connect you with that person who's going to consider you a trusted source, because they know what you do. We know what. Let's get to the how and the why. Here's a couple of examples. Working with a business attorney the other day, and we're talking about how he can refer himself through a story or an example, because there's just some industries that are difficult to refer, kind of boring. My brother and I used to have a commercial cleaning company, kind of boring. We also had a pest control company, kind of boring. So legal, health insurance, some things are not necessarily boring, but we just don't get them. And you stand up and say, hey, you need this. Well, kind of, but tell me why. So I was asking him who some of their recent clients are, or what industries do they have the most of. And they have a lot of restaurants, because last year when the PPP money was going out for small businesses, some restaurants were struggling getting through that process. They called up this particular law firm, and they got everything worked out. And those restaurants hired this firm to represent them in other things. But now they know to ask for restaurant owners, and they can tell them why. They also ask for CPAs, because CPAs have clients with issues, right? And you got to know a good lawyer, because some of those issues are involving a lawyer. And about 60% of small businesses do not have a business attorney. That's a lot of people in a narrow field. You want to help them that way. They also talk about they want to meet small business owners who are getting into a partnership with someone, or they have investors coming on board, because that's tricky. Nothing worse, well, probably is, but not as many things worse as a business partnership gone bad, because either money is involved or that's the end of a relationship. So you want to make sure if you're starting a business with a partner, even a family member, the expectations are on paper so everybody knows, because it's a business. On that paper, it's not personal, it's a business. If we do this, we get this. If we don't do this, this is what happens. And they also talked about business owners' leases. A lot of business owners have a storefront, but how did they get it? Do they want to get out of it? Do they want to get out of that to buy a bigger place? There's also a couple of people I know in the residential real estate world, do marble polishing and cleaning, painting, security systems. They want the higher end neighborhoods. So when somebody asks you who you want to meet, don't say anybody or everybody, because technically, could Haley help every business? Absolutely. Technically, she could. Do they want her business? Not all of them. They may not can afford her. They may not think they can afford her. They may figure out my phone's ringing enough. I'll call you when the phone stops ringing, which is a whole nother podcast right there. But not everybody wants your business. Not everybody's going to be your ideal client. You don't want tire kickers. They generally don't turn out to be ideal clients. Or if they call you and say, hey, Mike, I know you're offering this course at $400. Things are kind of tough right now. Can you just charge me $300? Well, that's not an ideal client. Your ideal client wants your services, and they're going to pay full price for it. But that comes in the messaging of your solutions you offer to small businesses. So again, why relationships work, ask direct questions when you're meeting with somebody, why you should refer them, what they can offer to your clients and your sphere of influence. There's nothing wrong with that. I love the truth. The truth shortens conversations. I don't have to talk around it for 3 minutes. Like, Mike, what do you do to help clients, to help small business owners? And I give them the straight answer. And then they go, okay, let's keep talking some more about that. I've got a friend of mine that was in BNI a couple of years ago, and she was working with a realtor, wasn't getting the realtor's business. And she said, hey, what do I got to do to get more of your business? And this realtor says, you got to get with a new mortgage company that we work with. I want you there. She made the move, 10 referrals a month. Okay. Because she asked the question, what do I got to do to get business from you? And when you're meeting with someone, you want to listen to them. When you're asking them the questions, you want to find out if they're actually working the problem, working with the clients. They don't want to be some of these, again, back in the real estate world, in the housing world. Sometimes you'll see these cleaning companies drive by, or these roofers drive by, and they'll leave a note on your mailbox. Hey, we replace shingles on your roof. Well, that's fine. But if they stop for a minute and they got their drone out with permission from you to look at your roof because they saw something and they said, hey, we see a couple of tiles missing. These could be problems. Here's why. We'd love to take a look at it for you. Okay, they're working it. They're working it. But you need to trust who you're referring, just like they need to be able to trust you. But again, Did they memorize it or did they live it? So tell folks who and what you're looking for, your ideal client. If you want new moms, quit asking for moms. Don't ask for them, because a mom with 17 and 14-year-olds don't need the service or the product you're providing that new moms need. So quit asking for them. And the last time I checked, there were plenty of new moms for you to make a wonderful living. But again, in the relationship, the person you're talking to, they may be a chiropractor and you're a trusted source of theirs. Now they're on the lookout for new moms because you told them you wanted to meet new moms versus, oh, I want to meet any mom versus, oh, I want to meet any parent versus, oh, I want to meet any adult client of yours. Again, when you stand up and say, hey, Mike, I can help anybody, I'm not engaged and you've not gotten me to do anything for you. But when you say, hey, Mike, I want to meet new moms. Now you painted a picture for me. Now I know what to look for, and I'm going to, because you're a trusted source for me that I can send out to my clients. So my clients are very happy. I'm the hero, and I can get work for you and then reciprocate, you're going to refer me to someone, and that's how that works. But you got to be a giver. Are you a giver in your neighborhood? Do you volunteer in your school, your church, your neighborhood, anything like that? So if you're a giver, you're going to do well in relationship marketing because you're always going to want to make sure that the person you're meeting with and the person who is your trusted source gets business and they're happy, because it'll come back to you. I'm a big fan of what you put out there is going to come back. But again, you got to track your numbers. So we bring it all the way back to how and why we do this relationship marketing. We want to meet people so we can do business, so we can work 4 days a week or 3.5 days a week, or buy the beach house, the new boat, pick up golf, whatever you want to do. So you got to track your numbers. You track the numbers that they give you, but you also track the numbers you give them to make sure you're giving back to them. So relationship marketing works. It's difficult to start with because it's a longer lead process than just running an ad on a radio station, but it's a lot deeper. You want your power team, your sphere of influence, to be a foot wide and a mile deep. So think about that for a second. A mile wide and a foot deep are just people out there. Oh, I just want to meet anybody that's got a car. Well, let me give you a better example. Got a friend of mine who's a carpet cleaner. He could say, hey, Mike, introduce me to anybody you know that owns a house with carpet in it. And I will help him, but I'm not going to go out of my way to help him, because what he's telling me is, hey, Mike, call up every friend you have that owns a house or lives in a house and needs their carpet cleaned. I'm not going to do that. But when he stands up and says, hey, I'm looking to meet residential property managers. Okay, now he's got my attention. So I know what he's looking for. I know he's referable because I got a friend of mine that is a property manager and she refers him quite a bit. So now he's got my attention. Now I'm willing to help him. So I look through my Rolodex, and if you're under 30, if you don't know what a Rolodex is, ask your parents. It's a great thing. Just spin the wheel and find who you know. But anyways, that's the old guy thing, so I digress. But you go to look through your Rolodex, how many residential property managers do I know? Now I'm doing something for him, but that's the relationship. So now what his ask is a foot wide, but a mile deep. He just wants to meet residential property managers who need his service and they're willing to pay full price for his service. So that's why that is important. So when you're looking at your world of people that refer you, people that you know, is it a foot wide and a mile deep? Are they going to send you to people that want your service and willing to pay full price for it?
I love it.
Cool.
But
make sure your message is good. You got to know what to ask. And Haley, I know you see this all the time with clients and business people. They're like, hey, I can show you here. I know I have 30 seconds, but I'm going to tell you the 9 things that I can do for you. We've been told that adults can remember 3 things at once, and I think that number is a little high.
I think it's probably about 1/3 of a thing at once.
Yes. So, But it's
Cool.
relationships, folks. It's deep. It's long. It's the long play in your business.
Absolutely. It's all the relationships. That's where it comes from.
Yep.
And thank you for being my last speaker today.
my
I
pleasure.
appreciate having you here. I appreciate everybody who has come out here today. Thank you guys so much for an amazing WEN-Talk. Can't wait to do it again next month. Thank you, everybody. Thank
Bye.
you,
Thanks,
Mike.
Haley.
I appreciate you.